Welcome. I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a word game called Betwist, and today we want to look at selecting words. We started them yesterday, and let's see what we can do today. Okay, offline, I figured out what was causing the first error we were getting. I don't remember exactly what that was, but it's gone now. However, this one, there's really very little like this on the internet to tell me what's going on. I tried deleting the whole test library and all that kind of stuff and still have this failure. So I don't know what that's from. I don't think it hurts. It may slow down our tests a little, I guess, to get started. All right. Mudshark and Kavikendi. Welcome to both. All right. So we left off with selection. We've got the notion of starting. We did take the first location and click it. And then now today we want to look at extending a selection to a neighbor. And so I think, we can start a test. I think there's some refactoring I'm going to have to do, though, but that's okay. Okay, so what we're doing now, we want to extend word by selecting neighbor. And like neighbor to me sounds like its own concept that's not really a board or a selection, so it's a little funny. All right, but and let me rename this. This should at least be system under test. Just been trying to use that notion. Save some renames later, probably. Okay. And I think it helps because like sometimes you decide, oh wait, I know the right name for this class. It shouldn't be selection, it should be guess or something. And then you don't really have to go through and change all your var selection equals, so we'll see. All right, I guess I'm not good at templates. All right. We will let's take a board. Okay, so we've built a board of size or order 2, size 2, 2 by 2, and stuffed in some letters. And we've got the selection. Okay, so I'm going to select, I guess this is still kind of part of the setup. We've already, let's see, row 0, column 1 would be, and I don't know about append here, maybe it's select. All right, but anyway, I'm going to select the B, and what I'd like to do then is if I select the A, then I guess these sort of observer methods, it should have two things in it. Excuse me. And the word should be guess. Guess should be BA. Okay. How about equals? All right. Now, in a 2x2 board, everybody's a neighbor, so in a sense, that's sort of free. Now, I don't know what happens here. It could fall out from what we already did, actually, because we just appended it, and we make the guess do its stuff. So this test might pass. Wow, so slow. I guess I had restarted Xcode in there somewhere, so we'll see. Board less than 4x4, every letter is a neighbor. Yeah, 4x4 is kind of your minimum, isn't it? Especially with wrapping. Now, in the last project, well, kind of but one, we we did this thing where you extract your model into its own framework, and that prevents some of the startup time. Let me run that again just to see how bad it is the second time. Theoretically, it's 4/1000ths of a second, but it seems longer. Okay, he's installing the app. He's testing. Notice he popped up "Hello World." Like, I don't know if you may be able to turn that off. Was that in here? Host application. I think we can say none. Let's make sure that works. Because we don't need the actual running. No, it doesn't. Okay. Like we don't really care about nominal type descriptor versus betwist.board. Apparently that's needed. Okay, so yeah, some aspect of it. You know, I think that's probably my fan. Let me turn it down a notch. Sorry, we'll see if that goes away. I may have turned it off. Is that better? Okay, so anyway, all our tests passed, which is okay. I think it gives us a little room to refactor and not worry too much. The next test is probably selecting a non-neighbor. Okay. Yeah, I had it on and listened to the recording and didn't really hear it making much noise, but I can believe it'd be annoying. Okay, cool. Sometimes just the wrong frequency or something gets through. All right. So the two things now. One is I think maybe append is not the right word for what we're doing because sometimes it's not appending. And so let's change that name to select because I think we're selecting that cell more or less. And it still may not be the best name. Okay, so select, I think that's a little better. But the other thing is I think this concept of a row and column is really a location of some sort, and we shouldn't be snooping into it too much. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's used up there. So let's go ahead and create another class. Or a struct anyway. This is a very low level thing. I don't know. Location is the word I had in mind. I don't know if there's a better one. It's really kind of an abstract game location, not a screen location, but and it's got two fields. Int, golly, let row be int, let column be int. And I think that's all we need at this point. Okay, so where we're passing in, it makes more work. All right, but what I'll do, I'll just extend, I'll make a selection that takes a location. And I don't really need the word location to understand it. Now, and we'll do one of these flip around things. Okay, so that's harmless. Let's go ahead and make our selects. Let's put in a location for them. And I don't know, I hate the overhead of that. I don't want it to specify that either. Okay, I guess we'll make it an it. Okay. All right, so we've replaced the one. That should pass, no problem. So I'm getting the outside world doing it right, and I'm not worrying about the inside world of select yet. We could do the opposite, but I think we'll get the clients the way we want them. Okay, and now we only, we don't reference this anywhere. And there's no reason we can't store locations here. Okay, that should. That's true. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to create a location very much, I don't think. But it does annoy me. I don't know. Sometimes you can do these. You could do like type alias L equals location, and then you could just say L of this, L of that. I don't think I'm quite ready to do that, but I'm slightly annoyed having to say those. All right, I think that's a good refactoring. I think I ran tests, because when I talk about neighbors, like that's not really anything to do with selection. I really want to ask the locations: are they neighbors? Now I may have to get something. I may have to know the board size to do that, but I think that's okay. And I think we have enough now. Let's go ahead and extract some files. Let's see. Let's do what we did yesterday. That was nice. Oops. Is there a menu for it right off the top? Extract selection file. I guess I gotta select it first. Oh no, that's selection. Okay, not clipboard. Okay, cool. And selection. Oh, yeah, put that up there. Good. Oh yeah, I was gonna do Command Shift A. Yeah, that's not really faster. Board is in here. Oh, selection should be up here. And he should be in here. Betwist. Okay, make sure that all still runs. I should have checked in before that split. Oh well. I'll say it that way. Okay, well, I guess we've done that. We don't really know it's a neighbor until we do the next one. All right, so let's manage one that's not a neighbor. Okay, so well, we know we have to do a 4x4. Selecting non-neighbor starts new word. Okay, so we've got that board, and I don't know if I can format it in a way to keep this thing happy. I've noticed SwiftLint sometimes doesn't appreciate my approach to indentation. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and test. Yeah. Okay. So we got a selection. Well, let's select 0, 0 as our starting point, and then so 0, 1 is still a neighbor. Well, I guess like 0, 3 is not. No, 0, 2 is not, right? And so we expect this to be 1 and C. All right, that test should fail. We'll just run the 1. Okay, failed. Okay, we got 2, and it got AC, so it just gladly grabbed anything. Okay, so now selecting is sort of requires some thought. All right, so I guess if the location is a neighbor to the last one. So I think we're setting up 3 situations. The first is the selection is empty, and there's no worrying about neighbors there. So let's take that case first. And we call it count, right? Yeah. If count is 0, then we certainly should just do that. Else, now if I want to do what we did already, I can start here. Okay, so I'm making an if that doesn't really make a useful distinction, but I think what we want to say is if they're neighbors, and yeah, we need the last. And I think Well, let's just make it up. So we're going to get last, which is an optional location. But we know there is one because we know the count's not 0. So if last, well, I guess we want to ask it, is a neighbor of location given, I think we have to say board.size. Still, I don't know, that size name worries me because it's not really accurate. But okay, if the last one is a neighbor to the specified location and given the board size, then we do selected. And then otherwise, we're going to say selection dot clear. Well, I guess selection. I guess I can do it here as well. Selection equals the array consisting of location. And here we'll refactor later, but I'm just saying, okay, now it's that. All right, but we don't have is neighbor on our last. We don't have last either for that matter. Okay, so I'm going to say last is a location question mark, optional location, because there may not be one. Guard count greater than 0, else return nil, and otherwise return selection dot last. Okay, I guess I can just do that. Overthinking it here. Could that be a function on board? Yeah, that's a thought. So like board has neighbors, last, and location. Okay. Then that seems okay. All right. That comes from there. Let's go over to board. Okay, and he needs a method here. Function has neighbors. Well, location 1 is a location. Location 2 is a location. All that returns a bool. Whoops. I'm just running for that. And I'm going to change this. Okay, so let's make sure the right test failed. Oh no, oh yeah, okay. So now selecting a neighbor fails because it thinks they're not neighbors. Okay, so board is not telling the truth here. Okay, so the way we tell if they're neighbors, I mean, I guess they have to be, well, we're going to subtract the 2 row locations and the column locations. Okay, there's something about location 1.row minus location 2.row is less than or equal to 1, and is, I don't know if a node is a neighbor to itself. And these need absolute values, sorry. The location one column. I think I'm not worrying about the wrapping yet. We haven't tried one. Let's see if we just got the basics right. And if we do, I think we can. Okay. This works. Well, does it? I was going to say it works for non-wrapped boards, but I think we could almost. We did last minus this was -2. Okay, I think that's close-ish, and I think it's good enough that we can check in the kind of bare minimum. So give board, well, create board.has members. Okay. No wrapping support yet. Now, I don't know if, I guess it comes down to how much do I want to make neighbor. I don't really want to test neighbor at this level very much. Okay, so I want to move over into boards test and really drive it from that. Let's see. So neighbors. Something about neighbors. Okay, so I want to make sure. I guess I want to make sure that absolute is justified. Neighbors are symmetric. Okay, so let's build. Well, what's big board? Wait a minute, is he big enough? 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay, yes. Okay, so we'll. Oh, I'm not doing that right still. Too used to typing it. Okay, so board in this case is sut. Okay, so I want to do kind of like this test, but a level down. Okay, so I'm gonna need these two. Board. Sut dot has neighbors. Location 0, 0 and location 0, 2. Okay, and then I want to flip it. Oh, let's make it. This is one that does have neighbors. Okay, so this is this way. So if 0, 0 is a neighbor of 0, 1, then 0, 1 ought to be a neighbor of 0, 0. Okay, so that's That's one side of what I'm proving. And then I think to say it's symmetric, I'm going to treat the other one the other way. And 0, 2 and 0, 2 there. Okay. Now this should pass. And I think I'll take off the absolutes and make sure it catches those. Oh, am I calculating wrong? Has neighbor 0, 0. Location 0, 2. Isn't that supposed to be false? I mean, that passed. Oh, did I leave out the knots? I did. Sorry. Well, I guess that proves something. I don't know, the exclamation points that were loaded a little funny. Why are you so slow? There it goes. Okay, let me take off these absolute values, and because I think that test has enough things to prove that it really does need the absolute value. So we should see a failure. Yeah. Okay. It thinks they are neighbors when they're not, because it was looking less than 1. Okay. Good. All right. And I don't know, can I jump right to wrapping? What else do we worry about? Oh, well, I think I could say, I would expect you are not a neighbor with yourself. Identical locations are not neighbors. I think that's a true thing. 0. And that should be a not. Okay, so it does not treat that as its own neighbor. Yeah, that's a good question. It should allow diagonals, so let's make a test for that. This one is going to fail though, so we'll deal with it first. All right, so he thinks they are neighbors. Okay, so I think I can. We don't have equatable on there, but we can. So if location 1 equals location 2, I guess I could say guard. Yeah, I think this is okay. Return false. Otherwise, return that. Yeah. Oh, he doesn't like that. Yeah. Okay. And this is my funny indentation. Yeah, this one, because location does not say equatable. And it's all simple types, so it auto generates that for us. Okay, so now we should pass. Okay. Yeah, so let's check. Um hmm. This almost is a fit for a parameterized test. Okay, so the what's the test? So well, I almost want to think it's neighbors are one cell away. Okay, now parameterized, I gotta look it up. I made my own cheat sheet and I still don't remember it enough. Okay, yeah, arguments colon. Okay, and then you let it take them. It's either an array or a range across types. Okay. Yay. Okay, so I think it's gonna run. We don't want all combinations of this with that. We want the zip mode. Okay, so it's arguments colon. And then we need a zip. One array with another. Now I think that's gonna work. Cannot specify arguments when used with neighbors because take away. Oh yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so well, I guess this is location 1 of location, location 2 of location. All right, and in here, so we're trying to say location 0, 0 is a neighbor to location. Yeah, see, I don't know. Is this really? I had my own parameterized framework I developed, and one thing I liked about it was I could give an argument that explained what was going on. But maybe this is close enough. And here you can see why I might want L. And I think I'll do that right here. Type alias, maybe just loc equals location. Just to try and get this so I can fit a bunch on. Okay, 0, 0 to 0, 1. Now let's do a column difference. 1, 0 to 0, 0. Now let's do that diagonal. With 1, 1. Okay. Oh, you don't like that? Oh, I have to do it outside. Oh, I have to spell it right. Sorry. Okay. So now, given those two locations, we really want to say, well, we'll make the board, and it really is kind of like this, just negated. Okay, so we're saying all these pairs are neighbors. 0, 0 with 0, 1, it's off by, it's row column. So the columns are different, the rows are different, and both are different. All right, and we believe this should pass. So this is hopefully reassuring. Yeah. Okay, yeah, let's break it up then. Okay. Um let's say in in same column. Yeah, I can see it. It would be a little confusing to eyeball it. Keep those things lined up in your head. Okay. Neighbors in the same column, neighbors in the same row, neighbors touching diagonally. Oops. I didn't mark up test. Okay, identical locations are not neighbors, and then we got all those. I think symmetric is maybe a little more advanced than those. Okay, I think it's a valid question. All right, let's see where we are to-do wise. Click from neighbor. Okay. Right. I think the next step is dealing with that wrapping. Okay, so I gotta think this one out. If you look at zeros, you have a 4x4 board, and you look at 0, 0 versus 3, 0. So first cell in the first row and the first cell in the fourth row. And if you take the difference, you either get 0 minus 3 or 0 plus 3. But we'd like them to say, yes, they're the same. Okay. All right, let's make a test. Wrapped row. So my claim is 3, 0. Well, maybe 0, 0 to 3, 0. And 3, 0 are neighbors. Okay, and that should fail. Now, Yeah, I was 100% expecting it. And I wonder if well, it's kind of like if the value plus 1, like if value 1 plus 1 equals value 2, location 1 plus 1 equals location 2, or location minus 1 equals location 2, then the percent thing might come in. Let's look at the implementation again. That had all the absolute stuff. Now, I think, okay, if the distance is 3, I almost wonder if there's a delta location. Like, all this stuff has nothing to do with the board. Nor does this. But maybe a distance that gave us those absolute values, and we could look and say, are you either 1 or in size minus 1? So the decision about less than or equal would come out, but the difference, the sort of location difference, in a way, it's a location. It's kind of a lie too, isn't it? It's kind of like a vector. Should it just be a pair of ints? That seems confusing. Let delta equal this. That. Okay, now can I re-express this in terms of delta? Well, I think I'm saying delta dot row and delta dot column. Okay, now I can kind of fit these on one row. Okay, and then I think that's closer, because now I think, well, I think you could do this still, but this computation definitely is independent of the sizes and all that stuff. So let's move this one over. Can I extract a method? No. All right, let's make a method on location then. Can we add one to the row and column to both locations? Well, not. I think you would have to either add one or subtract one. Because 0 plus 1 is 1, but 1 plus 1 is 2, so it wouldn't go backwards. Yeah. Yeah, we definitely don't care if it's over the board. I mean, it's really like if the delta is 0 or 1 or order -1, then I think we're neighbors. That feels complicated. Um, it feels like something you should be able to just ask. The only time it's a problem is when you go below 0. Well, the way this is, it doesn't go below 0, right? So it's um, I'm not. Sorry. Are you saying add one? Add one to what? I mean, I can make one up. Let's take this out. Um, are you saying that should be true? Because it feels asymmetric. Nothing else. And eventually we have to wrap them, right? But if the location row, and that's why I liked the absolute value of the difference, because I could tell that they were um, close. Well, maybe I should do row distance. Okay, another way to go at it. Let row distance equal this. Yeah. I mean, I think there's something in it. I mean, clearly they're +1, -1, mod whatever. All right, let's follow this path a minute, see if we like it. Let column distance is that. Okay. And the rows are close. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna make this that. So if row distance less than or equal to 1, then row is close. And then column is close. Okay, and then the return is row is close and column is close. Okay, and that should be the same. Half good, yeah. That should be the same as what we had. So it should still fail that last test. Okay, and yeah, same one. All right, but I think this is good. Okay, the reason it's failing is it's got 3, but but 3 is kind of a magic number to us from the board size, because that's the order. So if you're equal to 3, that means you're so far away, you're going to wrap around, right? So if the distance is 3, like it is between 0 and 3, or 1 and 0, well, no, that doesn't count. Okay. Yeah, board size -1. So row distance less than or equal to -1, or row distance is equal to board dot size -1. And same thing here. Okay. Now, I think that might. Oh. Value of string. Oh, board dot size. Oh, we are bored. Okay. If size. Okay. Okay. All right. Now I think we could make this test a slight bit more challenging. I think 2, 0. Sorry. It's 0, 0, and 3, 0. Let's move it more to the middle of the board. 1 and 3, 1. Okay, make sure that still passes. Now we implemented symmetrically, so I expect the column test is going to be perfectly fine as well. Wrapped column. Okay, so row 0, let's take column 0 and column 3. I guess we'll take these the same and then do the diagonal at the end. Okay, so now the columns are the 2 far apart columns, and let's take row 2 just to be a little different than zeros everywhere. Okay, I think this will pass because we did the same thing for column as we did for row. And then I think the last case is neighbors neighbors touching diagonally when wrapped. Okay, so let's look at 0, 0, and 3, 3. But I think they're okay. Okay, now I do think there's clearly duplication, right? These things look the same except for the column they're doing. We should be able to pass this to something that gives us the answer row is close for 2 locations. Okay, so I think we'll extract it as a function first. I'll make it, well, I'm going to move it anyway. I'll leave it open. Okay, so function is close of location 1. Let's take it's going to need more, but location 2 and Well, I do want to pass that, I think, because I'm going to make the locations answer the question. Order. Oh, gosh. Boy, order just is so overloaded. I don't like using it because of that. Size is not really accurate. Side? Well, what's size of int? Okay, so this one is going to take location 1.row, location 2.row. All right, let's just pull out all the row stuff and we'll manipulate that. Okay. And this is not, it's not a location really, it's the int. I guess maybe it's an index. And I'm going to make you say size. Okay, this is index 1. Index 2. Okay. So instead of this, I'm going to say is close. Is it a close? Yeah, is close. Location 1.row to location 2.row and size. Okay, can I do that? Wrap, yeah, thank you. Let's rename that. Wrap. Okay. And that worked so well. Let's do the same thing for this one. Whoops, that should be 1. Okay, you're close if your row is close or your column is close. And now we're not calculating any of these for. Okay, something's still funny to me. All right, that's, well, okay, let me clean that up. We'll check that in and then we'll refactor a little more, I guess. Okay. All right. It still feels to me like, is this whole expression with the two ampersands, right? That still is purely a function of locations and this passed in size. Um, let's extract that too. Oh, let's rename here first. Sorry. This is distance. And we'll just return this so we don't have to name it. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to extract out is close that takes location 1, location 2, and size. And once again, I doubt it'll extract it for me, but I'll try. Hey, there it is. Is close. Okay, I guess I'll have to add the extra argument myself. Wrap of size. Okay. Well, I don't want you to. Maybe that's all it was. Yeah, okay. All right, so another extract. Okay, and then this function to me feels okay because it's the one that knows that size, where board controls where size comes from. But this actual computation has no more board in it, so it doesn't belong on board. It belongs, well, presumably on location. So let's move this to location. I'll copy it. Okay, I'm gonna move them both because this one's even more distant from board. And this one probably should be file private, not the other. Okay, this, I suppose we could put it on int if we wanted to, but I think instead I'll just leave it as a private function. We won't explicitly go for it. Okay, so we're not calling this, but we could. All right, well, we'll run this, but now I think what I want to say is location 1 is close to location 2 with wrap size. So let's do location 1 is close to location 2 with wrap size. We'll have to adjust a little bit. Okay. This is location 2, and this is self.row, self.column. Okay, so I don't think it's perfect, but I think that's better. Now we almost want like a ternary kind of operator, you know, this value coming in, but I don't want to make every location know the size because we could conceivably change it. All right, now this is close. Let's just make this location that. I don't know. I use this and that in Java. I think maybe other works better in Swift. Self and other is close. Oh, we can do the same thing there. Oh, no, we can't. We take it. Okay, so self row is close to other row, and self column is close to other column. Okay, yeah, I think this will do. Now, I guess the question on my mind is like, is it, we're not testing this directly in location, we're relying on the board tests for it, but I think it got extracted fair and square. It almost, well, let's check it in. Whoops. What's your concern? Okay. Now, I think the real thing that board enforces, it's got two things, right? It enforces well, it enforces that the locations are different. Because we would say location 1 is close to itself, which seems legit. And it enforces that the two locations are close modulo whatever, the modulo the size. So I kind of think these tests could move over. This one should not, but all these I think can. Not selection, location. We don't have a location test. Okay, that's already a sign. Well, I guess I'm just pasting these in. Okay, but oh, I screwed that. Oh no, I didn't. Okay. We don't need the board. We just need its size. So location 0, 0 is close to location 0, 1. Wrap 4. Is that enough parens? Okay. And same thing here, conceptually twisting them around. I can't get myself to cut that instead of copying. I guess I'll say close, or is close. Okay, now those should all pass. And I'm going to take out some of these. I think we're going to say board's job is make sure identical locations are not neighbors by definition. And, I think we want to do something close and something not close. So, has neighbors in the same column, that's fine. Although a wrapped one might be more, maybe we'll take this one. I don't see the test I want. Interesting. Okay, at test function not neighbors when too far away. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, they're just too many rows away to be symmetric, and they're far enough apart. If it was 3, we would be, so would be neighbors anyway. Okay, so let's take out this stuff. All right, so I think we're enforcing the right thing. Identical locations are not neighbors. Neighbors in a wrapped row, or not neighbors when too far away. I guess neighbors when close together, maybe. All right, and then a location. Well, is close in the same column as close. Okay. Not is close when too far away. Okay, and we'll expect 0, 0. I gotta put a not in there. Location 2, 0. Wrap 4. Okay. Yeah, so I want something checking not close to explicitly. 0, 0 is not close to 2, 0. Okay. All right, and these should all pass. Okay, click away from neighbor to start new one. Well, I think we established that, didn't we? Well, that's neighbors. Oh, that was selection test. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We've done that then. All right, let's get these rules back. We had them up yesterday. Tap the first letter to start. Okay, tap a neighbor to extend. Tap twice. I'm going to leave that one for a minute, but the last one, tap out a range to abandon and start a new word. We've done that. But we haven't done tap earlier letter to unwind. Okay. That seems to be a selection issue, right? So let's see. So well, we don't need a big board for that. Okay, I think we can do this with 2. Existing location. I used a good verb here. What did it do? Unwind. Unwind selection. Okay. So if all right, we've selected 0, 1. Let's select. Okay, so we've selected B, then A, and now if I tap back on B, I expect my count to be 1 and my word to be B. All right, this should fail. I think we'll get BAB. Yeah, there's BAB. We got 3. Okay, so yeah, so now the way it is now, if you tap on a neighbor, it adds to it. But if it was already in there, it adds again. So you could tap back and forth between 2 cells and not get what you want. All right. So I think that's up to selection. Select. Okay. So I think now we have another case. It's not enough to be the neighbor. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the selection's job to know this, and unwind it. Yeah. I mean, even the UI, right? You'd have to go look in the selection and see if you found that location. Well, that seems like a job for selection. So I feel like this is probably the right place. This thing is going to grow complexity because of it, but that's kind of okay too. It's its job. Okay, so if the board has the neighbor appended, yes. Right, but that's not. I guess if the count is empty, you can't tap on an existing one, so that's okay. But the situation is if the board contains the location. No, sorry, if the selection contains the location, then we have to do something different. Okay, if selection dot I'll say contains location, we do something else, we do something different. Okay, so if it contains the selection, then we want to delete stuff after it. I think there is a way to do that. And contains location? I'm surprised I'm not getting grief for it. Okay. Oh, it does. Okay. Okay, so we already have equatable, so that's fine. Well, I think the way it's going to work is you're going to fill in a word. You'll hit that last letter twice, and that'll say, hey, this word is done. And then it'll add it to your list of accomplishments, and then erase it and let you start another word. Okay, and if you submit it and it's not actually a word in our dictionary, we're going to leave your selection and you can back up or whatever you want to do. Okay, so contains is okay, but I also need the index at some point, or there's got to be. It's kind of like a filter. Let me look at real documentation. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break and then we'll come back and see what we can do to implement this thing. Yeah, one word at a time. I think we're on the right track with what we've got going here. Checking it contains it, then we know we've got a problem. But take that break first, 3 or 4 minutes. Welcome back. Okay, so we want to basically find that index. I know there's index in first index. We got remove. Yeah, first index of. Okay. And then there's stuff to drop. Remove. Yeah, there's remove. Okay. We can remove a subrange. That might work. Excluding drop last. Yeah, that might work. Okay. Back here. All right, so if the selection contains the location, then let's get the new size. Not really the new size, is it? Let index equals selection dot first index of location. I don't know if we can combine those somehow. Okay, now we have that, and then we want to say selection dot, I don't know, drop last might work. Return containing all but the specified numbers. We don't want to drop first. Okay, so if we're at index 2 and it's a 3-element thing, we should take 3 minus 2 is 1. Minus 1. So if you take size minus the index of the last thing, okay, so if you're at index 2 and you've got an array of 5, then 0, 1, 2 should be kept and 4, 5 should be dropped. So 5 minus 2 is 3 plus 1. I think we already have size. Count minus index. This we're guaranteed to have it because we just checked it. Drop last plus 1. Okay, so if array of size 3 minus 2 is 1. Am I doing that backwards again? Count 3 minus 2 is 1. Minus 1 is 0. If it was 5 minus 3 is... Sorry, 5 minus 2 is 3. But we want to do one less. Okay. Oh. I think that'll get us there. Okay. Now, I don't know if we can... I don't know if we can find a way to do this better. Like, we don't have to care if count comes first. Okay, I guess I'm finding out if it works first, and then we can think about it. Let's look at that test. Okay. Let's think about it. Well, let's check that in. Well, I think one thing we could do is, I think we don't have to look at count first, do we? If selection contains, that's fine. Board has neighbors last bang. Okay, the last bang does need that. All right, I want to move this up. Okay, if we do that, is this better? I haven't taken this out down here. Okay, if the selection contains the location, then drop the stuff and return as kind of a guard clausey thing. Yeah, I'm trying to fold this case down to the bottom. and make both these just be the else clause. But maybe that's not helping to explain things very well. I don't know. If it's empty, we just use the location. That's fine. If it contains the location, we have to check that before has neighbors, because the location it contains probably, well, could be a neighbor. But we get here, we know if it's a neighbor, it's not in the list, so it's an empty neighbor. Okay, I don't know. Maybe that's okay. It's a lot of cases. And I could wish for something in the array that was like drop after or something like that. I don't know. Can't remember if Java or some other semi-functional programming thing had something like that. But maybe I should. Do we have that? Where's that algorithm stuff? Because there may be something in there. Filtering. No. Reductions. I don't think that's the same. That's reduce, yeah. Partial reduces. Selecting. Conditionally printing first non now. No, I'm not seeing anything there either. Okay. I guess I can live with that. At some point, are we going to have one more complicated rule? I don't know. I'm not sure who should own this. But I think we've dealt with first letter, we've dealt with neighbor, we've dealt with earlier letter, and we've dealt with out of range, or let's say non-neighbor. Okay. All right. I think that's good. Okay, let's check that in. I already did. Yeah, I won't worry about that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do. And maybe we could. Oh wait, where's append in two places? We have this one. Start over. And we could make has neighbors check for nil. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to read it and make sense, see if it makes sense as a condition thing. If the count is 0, start. If the selection already contains the location, then back up, unwind. If the new thing is a neighbor to the previous, then append. Otherwise, it's a non-neighbor, and we start over. I mean, that's not outrageous. I mean, I think you're going to have 4 branches. Well, you might be able to fold this in. if it's an empty selection, it won't contain location, so that one won't care. If we made this one check for nil and said no, if you have if last is nil, then you can't be a neighbor. That's not terrible. Then we could get those two just falling together. Either at that point, either you have nothing. Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I was starting to go. Well, let me try that again. I think it's worth 10 minutes to find out. All right, so this would eliminate that check. Okay, and so we would say if, well, I guess I would say if let again. If let index equals that, then we'll do the selection and we'll return. Okay, and let's take this one out now. First index of location, yeah, that should not be a, okay. So this says, let's check for an existing cell location first. If there is one, back up and return. And then we say, okay, this, now I can't put the exclamation point here unless I know I have elements. Okay, so let me go in this guy, have neighbors. Well, that would make this into an optional location. Okay. Guard. Location one not equal nil. Comparing non-optional, oops. Okay, if location one is nil or location one equals location two, return false. And then this one still has to be exclamation. It detects it here because of the and. Do we need selection equals location if selection is initialized array? Oh yes, I mean that's definitely another option there. Where were we? Location. Well, the way this would work now. I mean this would do this. Okay, we'll put it in and see how we feel. Okay, so now we'd say if it's already in the list, back out. If it's an extension to the last location, go ahead and append it. Otherwise, the selection is going to be just this item. So if it's empty, start it. If it's not a neighbor, start it. Okay, so that would be one way. I think the other way you're suggesting there is if the count is 0, then selection is empty, so selection.append location will be the same as that in that case. If the board has neighbors, okay, I mean, that would do it. And has neighbors. Well, now we don't need this really, because if the count is 0, last is defined. Sorry, if the count is not 0, if it's 0, we just skip through. If it's not 0, then last is safe to call, so I don't need to do this stuff in the board. I can just go back to this, or over to this. Actually, I think the positive logic version of that read better. If location 1 is location 2, return false. Otherwise, return location 1 is close to location 2. Okay. Well, what do you think? Oops. I mean, I think that's more clear. And the sort of caveat, if selection is empty, then first index is always nil and it doesn't execute this thing. So I think that's improved. Otherwise, count is not 0 and board has no neighbors. There's a selection, but we're not a neighbor of it, then we should just break out. I don't know if we can. Yeah, if you click a non-neighbor, you're starting over. Now, I don't know if we can flip this logic. If the count is, yeah, let's try flipping it. If the count is not 0 and the board has no neighbors, if the count is not 0, so if you've already got some selected and the board has no neighbors, I don't know, I think the other way might be more clear. Okay, so we don't have a way to submit an answer yet. I'm not quite sure who manages that, but I think we have enough to explore the UI for sure. We probably could have done it sooner. Did I? Sorry, let's go back to board for a minute here. Okay, he's got to be is close. He doesn't need to be optional anymore. Okay. Selection always makes sure there is a last. Okay. Yeah, I just don't have that intuition on the selection process. I mean, the UI is going to put up these things. We're going to click one. I guess the UI is going to give that to selection, but he could make a decision there, and maybe board makes it. I don't know if this is a submitted word. Yeah, that's true. All right. Did you commit? Or did you push? I don't know. I wish I could get it to just default that. I haven't looked at the options. Maybe there's some more options I can improve my life with. Okay. I think, well, we haven't done any UI. Okay, we got content view. It's just hello world. Let's clean up our view a bit here. Okay. All right, now I guess all I'm imagining for starting UI, let's get this grid up there. We're gonna have the selection and something to get to the list of words and start a new game and other stuff. But the core for now is this grid of letters, and I never quite know. There's so many ways to make grids and arrays, screen arrays, and H stacks and V stacks. Let's see what grid says. I mean, arrange is a two-dimensional layout. That seems like a good thing. First view in each grid appears in the row column and so on. It's something like this. Right, that's something we like. We don't need multi-column cells. We don't need variable ones. Okay. Well, I think it can be put off. Well, at some point they click twice on the final letter. That should submit the word. And it would be nice to validate it through the dictionary, but like if you play this live with people, you don't validate it. You write it on your list, and then at the end you each read the lists and cross out any identical ones. But if you made up a word or you misspelled or something, you're kind of honor bound to to notice that when you go back through them. So that tells me we can defer the dictionary. So we will do that. You will have to have a way to submit it, though. I don't know. These things seem, it sounds like the right kind of thing. Alignment, bottom horizontal spacing, vertical spacing, and that's all good. Okay, but what are you putting in it is grid rows. I don't know. let's see what else somebody's doing. Swift UI, show 2D array of letters. I mean, I can just iterate through the rows and then through the columns. I think that's all they're going to do here. Using the array type, yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was thinking I would do. I don't know if they, yeah, there may be other better ways. Yeah, real games use time limits. But again, that's something we could do as optional. In a way, I'm thinking of this as just like I've got a board. I'm kind of idly poking around when I get a minute and try and do stuff. But it might also be fun to have a timer version. How many words can you get in 60 seconds and that kind of thing. Okay, I think this is just real arrays. Yeah. Well, Paul Hudson's the man. I don't see his version of that. But I think I'll just use that VStack HStack thing. Okay. Now, we may need some more structure. All right, but let's get where's our starter? Betwist app. Okay. This should probably own the model. Okay, so let's make @state private var. I don't know if we want, I guess we need a board and a selection, don't we? And I haven't made anything that generates an actual board, so we're kind of flying a little blind. But I think you do need them both. Well, if you have a selection, the board. Huh. Well, maybe it's just the selection is the key. Of I'm just going to give us something to start with. Where's our board has this? Okay, so we're just putting in each letter. Okay. And then the content view. Okay, you have to give this one. Okay. Yeah, we need the board to draw it. What's the matter now? Element to character. Okay, so we've done this before. Do I have to put it outside here? Then he's not in the content view. Property. Okay. Oh. And this was array. Okay. That's new. Okay. Surprised he's not complaining they're on the same line. All right, given a selection, that gives you the access to the board. All right, so we want to do a VStack, and we want to do for each. Well, maybe this is why it's not so suitable. Where'd that grid go? We have to do grid row, and I don't get a variable. Okay. Oh, and we had a, whoops. Data. Well, I don't know if that'll work or not. This is a row in something. We don't need this guy anymore. Is he not like... Yeah, I don't know how the rotate's going to work. I feel like I was expecting we would add something to the model to rotate based on that, but we'll have to see. I think things need their underlying location to be the same, but there should be something in the display that tells where your starting point is. But I think I'm buried in content view. I don't know. This is annoying. An array row should be an array of string for each selection board. Oh, I don't need the vertical stuff. Data identified by self. So array and element. Okay, well that's actually kind of promising. Data is selection.board identified by self. Gives me an array. Oh, he's saying it doesn't really work. Oh, this is what I started to do. Okay. I got vstack. I got data id \self. One too many parens. Okay. Array and for each array identified. No. hstack. Why is that having a problem? My strings aren't. Well, let's see what preview does with that. In a way, well, not in a way. This thing, I think we can arrange board to do the right thing. And then these elements, they're not really identifiable, so that's not so good. I think what it's going to come to is string is not enough. I think we need to, well, I also think we probably need to know the underlying location of each thing. And if you had that, that's enough to be identifiable with. What's the complaint here? But if all goes well, we should see A, B, C, D. Can't believe I have to wait so long for this thing. Where? Okay, well, that at least did what I thought it should. Where's my view? Yeah. Okay. Right. So we'd like selection to be involved, right? So these text elements probably should be some sort of buttony thing. And you press the button and it should add it to the selection. It should select whatever you touched. Yeah, I was so hoping that preview would get sped up. They claimed they were doing stuff that would. Excuse me. Stuff was being rebuilt that didn't really need to be for a preview, and it was going to notice all that. And I mean, I'll keep trying once in a while, but I don't know. That thing's beating us up the whole time. All right. Let's see. A button. Well, we still. Okay, let's add the view while we're here. The selection. Okay, so we're gonna go for well, I don't think we need to do that. We can just say text of selection.guess and then make it fancier. Okay. Yeah, well, we don't have any. Okay, let's yeah, I think what this is revealing is just having a text string for these elements in our board is really not enough. This thing really does need to know its index, I think. If it knew its location, we could give that to selection, right? And we could use it as the tag. It's identifiable, right? Or we could make it identifiable and use it as the tag. That feels like the next thing to do. It's not a 10-minute job, but okay. So who looks at this string? Well, board is public. Okay, row. Oh, subscript. Oh, where's that coming from, right? Well, that means we can do better on our view. I think. Okay. For each 0 ... less than selection.board.size. This is row in for each 0 ... less selection.board.size is columns. In text beep. Okay, that's a little better. Now let's make this the button. Title key. I don't know. I always get mixed up because is this the one that? Title keys look like string. I think I put my stuff here, right? maybe we don't need to tag these things. Okay. Tag. I don't believe tag can be a tuple. Because tuples aren't testable for equality. Unbelievably, but if we did something to make this give us like locations or something, maybe we could make that work and make them, yeah. But I think the way it is now, it can locate the H stacks based on this, which is an int, which can be its own tag. So I don't think it's going to have trouble finding them, and it distinguishes them. Okay, let's throw another A in there and see if it messes it up. I mean, hey, this is definitely faster for me. I mean, once it gets started. Okay, and does it have trouble finding them and distinguishing them? No. 1000. Yeah. I think that's kind of okay. Now I don't know that I need to really be a button per se for real, but I think we can say selection.append. No, selection.select. Let's try that. A, D. Okay, we don't have click again. Oh, and I clicked and it blinked because it was cutting my string off to the last letter that did it. And it won't let me put... Oh, no. What's up with that? Is that right? Oh, yeah, it is. Because bad, the first letter was B, and it was clicked. Okay, now I want to be able to see which ones are clicked. Does our selection answer contains? I think it does. No? Maybe it should. I mean, we could ask it contains location and highlight them differently. That would be something. Oh, much faster. Okay, I'm happier. First time was very slow. Right. Who knows what's selected? I guess that selection should know who's got to be colored differently. Okay. I don't know if I can do background green. Yeah, we can start. Yeah, check the selection. Okay. Right. So I think we'll look at the selection, ask it about this location. Is that going to be doable? It might. Okay, so I think our next task, well, we did the initial UI. Okay. Initial UI showing board and selection. All right, now we got to get a fancier UI. We would like to show highlight selected letters. Okay. Right. I think that's doable with what we have. We'll have to add a search or something that contains. We probably don't even have to put in the location in the UI. We could just pass in those two integers and ask, do you contain the location that matches these? Okay. What else is in our bare minimum? I guess we're going to have to figure out how to submit a word. Okay, so we're going to have to do something. I don't know what. Okay, we need to show the list of accepted words. Once we have those, yeah, we've got that last letter. Well, we don't have the dictionary yet, so I'm not going to worry about that one. That's a future story. Dictionary. Don't erase non-words. Okay. I don't know what else would we need immediately. Okay. Well, there's certainly some formatting. All right, I think that comes maybe before the list. All right. Well, I think that's a start. I mean, we're ready to work on the UI. A little stuff to add to the selection to help us display things better. I also kind of want, well, highlight selected letters. I'd like to highlight the last letter differently. I'm not sure that's the most important thing, but you kind of help you know where you need to go. Okay, but I think that's good. All right. So we'll be back tomorrow, 2 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time US or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. Selection needs a function that clears letters when you're done. Yeah, we'll have to do that too. And clear selection. Okay, yeah. All right. See you tomorrow, I hope, and otherwise sometime in the future. Take care. Good night.